Only 6 points separate the bottom of the East from the top. We'll be talking about that and a whole lot more on this week's edition of the Dump and Chase podcast presented by the Hoosier Network. I'm Noah Budoris with Noah Seuss and Jack Rizzo. Fellas, we are back in our usual 4 o'clock on Thursday slot. How's it feel?
It feels great to be back here in the studio, ready to talk some more puck with you guys. It's been an exciting week of puck. A lot has happened.
Yeah, it's been weird. It's one of those seasons where we're going to get more into this later, but there's a lot of teams that they have these hot starts, they get towards the top of the standings, and then we're like, all right, when are they going to fall off? And they just don't.
Yeah, they just keep things rolling. Like, we see, like, the Bruins. We see all these other teams, like Utah. Mm-hmm. We're seeing Seattle. We're seeing the Ducks, which we're going to talk about in this episode here.
Yep. Lot of good hockey going on. Jack, what's going on?
Yeah, it's been a great start. We're closing in on the first month of hockey. Tomorrow will be 1 month since the season has started. Again, we have a lot of teams we expected to be good are at the top. You got Colorado still with only one regulation loss. You've got Vegas playing well. You've got the Devils playing well, but also you got some surprises too. The Ducks are at the top of the Pacific Division right now. You've got Edmonton not playing to their best. You've got the two wildcard teams from the Western Conference last year sitting at the bottom two spots in their division. So a lot of parity right now in the league, and I expect that to continue as the season goes on.
Yeah, well, the biggest story of last night's NHL slate was Alex Ovechkin hitting 900 goals, and this was something we talked about last week. We were trying to call it when was it going to happen, and just like the Sidney Crosby, I was right about this one. Got it done against the Blues and against Jordan Binnington's atrocious goaltending. Seuss, what was your reaction to this record-setting goal?
We were sitting there at the IU basketball game, and I saw it, and I was like, what a weird way to get your 900th NHL goal. Yeah. I told you, because you're a massive Blues guy, do not watch this goal.
What number goal was that in the game? It would have been, I want to say it made it 4-0. Yeah, was the Ovechkin goal. I'm gonna fact check that. But once it was 2-0, I was like, I'm not even paying attention to this game anymore because I know it's over. But then seeing the highlight and then seeing Binnington trying to like sneak the puck into his pants was an
interesting sight.
It was.
On my way to the studio today, I did see an ESPN notification that he was trying to give the puck to Ovechkin. I don't know, dude. You don't need to put it in your pocket. I know you're trying to sell it on eBay, but you do not need to put the puck in your pocket, buddy.
Yeah, that was a bit weird, but congrats to Ovechkin. First NHL player ever to score 900 goals in a career. He is just unbelievable. He is the greatest goal scorer we've ever seen play this game. And to be honest, I don't know if anyone's ever going to have this many goals again in their career.
Well, that's what I was looking at just on the way here, like Seuss was saying. Like I did some homework on my walk up and just looking at the active leaders in goals, and there's nobody that's even close. Like this is a untouchable record that nobody who is currently in the NHL is going to even come close to sniffing.
So you look at the young guys. You look at the Macklins. Who do you think could potentially come up and try to get this record?
I have no idea. Well, here's the crazy thing. So let's say a player comes in the league and they have a 20-year career, which is a really long career in the National Hockey League, and you have, let's say, 40 goals. You average 40 goals a season. You would still be over 100 goals away from Alex Ovechkin's all-time record. Yeah. It's just something that I don't think we're ever going to see be broken. I don't even know if any player who has come up is going to be able to come close to this. I think Macklin Celebrini is probably the guy I would think may have a pretty long career, relatively young. But again, it's going to be so hard to get to 900. I mean, he is the first ever to get to 900. The great one, Wayne Gretzky, didn't even get to 900. Right. But it's not as untouchable as Wayne Gretzky's points record because there is a 100% chance that'll never be broken. No. But this has maybe like a 1 to 2% chance of being broken. But I still don't think it ever will be.
I'm
broken.
not saying this is going to happen because it's again so far off. The only guy on this list I'm looking at active goals leaders is Austin Matthews is at 409. He's only 28 years old. So 500 goals in the next, 10 years. Probably not going to happen, but that's fathomable to me.
If he keeps up on the current pace that he is, I feel like he can do it.
I don't think he can.
He's so talented.
But he'll end up in the 600s, 700s, I think. Yeah,
he will.
Around that range.
Yeah.
But 900's a lot.
It's just one of those where most guys slow down once they reach a certain age, and Ovechkin did not.
He just kept it going. He stood in that one spot on the ice, and they just kept feeding him the puck and kept going in.
So let's transition to our regularly scheduled accolades. I want to start with Player of the Week. Jack, who is your guy to get this award?
This was a tough one. A lot of players played well this week, but I'm going to go with William Nylander. We'll stay with the Toronto Maple Leafs talk. Now, the Maple Leafs only actually played 2 games this week. They had a 6-day off period from Tuesday to Monday, but William Nylander in the 2 games had 5 points. And the Maple Leafs, I almost said the Blue Jays. The Maple Leafs have played 14 games this year. William Nylander has points in 13 of those 14. He hasn't really had one game where he's been amazing, but he has been so consistent all year. And for a team that lost Mitch Marner in the offseason, they've needed William Nylander to be productive in his place. And William Nylander has done just that. He's second in the league in points. He has done an outstanding job all season. Again, a goal and assist last night against Utah, 2 goals and an assist, and a 4-3 win over Pittsburgh. He has just been remarkably consistent. And for Austin Matthews, who really hasn't played his best this year, other guys not really doing their job, William Nylander has really been what's kept this Blue Jays offense afloat this year.
Blue Jays?
Blue Jays.
The Maple Leafs.
Yeah,
We're transitioning into hockey.
I know.
Baseball's over. I got to remember that.
I'm bummed out the baseball season's done, but we can focus in on some hockey now. I'm looking at Nylander's game logs. This is a list. I'm going to start at the beginning of the year. This is a list of his plus minus every single game. Just talking about his consistency. You ready? +2, -1, -2, +1, +1, +1, +1, +1, +1, +2, +1.
Pretty good.
That is how he's played every single.
consistency right
He is
there.
consistently on the ice for a goal.
Listen, last week, I was very mad about how the Leafs started the season.
Yeah.
So it was very nice for them to get these 2-3 wins, get back to where I thought they were going to be in a playoff spot, not even close to being out of it. They're 2 points out of Montreal right now.
Yeah, the Atlantic Division right now is weird where Montreal is still the top team, and we were thinking they might slide into a 4th or 5th, but they are cruising as the best team in this East right now.
It's weird because we have Montreal and Detroit
Yeah.
as the top 2 spots in the Atlantic. If you told me that a month in, I was going to be like, I don't think so.
And Florida's in last.
Florida's doing
Florida's
we
in
thought Florida
last.
would skid, but not to this degree. Like that they are playing, but then again, Florida's playing bad hockey on paper when you look at the standings and say, oh, they're in their last place in their division. But they're 3 wins and 3 Montreal losses away from being in the first
They're
place.
6-6-1. That's not really
No,
that bad.
that is a great
They
record
have
for
points in
for
basically
a
half their
last-place
games.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The East has been so odd this year because every team, no team has been awful.
No.
They've all been perfectly mid
Yeah.
or better than mid.
Actually, the Panthers are at the bottom of the East standings right
Right.
now, let alone the Atlantic Division.
And it's so many teams that's like even the ones that you expect to be terrible are playing solid hockey. Like Buffalo is playing solid. The Flyers are playing solid. The Islanders are playing solid. Even the Rangers
on the road.
when they're playing on the road when they're on the road they're playing great.
They are.
Yeah.
They don't. I believe they don't. They have like 1 or 2 regulation losses on the road. They are 0-6 at home.
Yep. Yeah, Seuss, let's go into your player of the week.
So let's get quacking, as I would say. Give me Boston College's Cutter Gauthier. He had a phenomenal week, guys. 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points in 3 games. That's just amazing. We saw the Ducks. Jack, you were saying it before. You were very high on the Ducks going
I was.
to this season. And we really saw an amazing Ducks team. They were just flat out incredible. And it's just great to see this young core finally put it together.
Yeah, the Ducks are a team that I have enjoyed watching for the past few weeks, and I'm going to tack on to that with my player of the week, and mine's Leo Carlson. This guy, 7 points in the past week. That was mostly due to 6 assists. He had 3 assists in a game against Detroit last week. His plus-minus over that stretch was +5. He's now 9th in the league in points with 18, and this is just his 3rd season. Last year, he had 45 points across almost an entire season, and he's on pace to break that in a tremendous way.
And I'm going to give, we didn't give him a player of the week bid, but you got to give Troy Terry some credit here.
Yeah.
That line is rolling right now for the Ducks. This is just a well-balanced Ducks team on paper. Will they keep this up? I don't know, but I like the way this is going so far.
I don't know if they'll keep it up to this degree, but the Ducks are playing a brand of hockey that I enjoy watching, and I think that their few fans are also enjoying watching. And so when you're building around these young guys and you're intentionally building for the future and getting these high draft picks and developing talent, you're seeing the fruits of your labor, which is something that a lot of teams try to do but can't.
I'm also going to give credit to their goaltender, Lucas Dosal. He has been playing awesome. A 2.59 goals against. It's just been incredible. This run has been awesome. Jack, they were your team of the week. So
Yeah, I guess we'll jump right into that.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, yeah. Good job, Seuss. We'll jump right into it. We have to give credit to Joe Quenneville as well. Their first-year head coach, a 3-time Stanley Cup champion with the Chicago Blackhawks. This guy's a winner. He just builds winning teams wherever he goes, and he has done that with this young Anaheim Ducks team that is honestly just really fun to watch. You even go away from this top line. Jacob Trouba, the former New York Rangers captain, is plus 11 on the season. That is something you could never even fathom on the Rangers, but it's clear when you get him into a winning environment, you buy him into a winning culture, he could be a much better defenseman than he showed with the Rangers. I mean, we're even seeing the veterans play well. Chris Kreider has 7 goals in 8 games. He's missed some time with injury, but when he has played, he has been very productive. And it's just a team with a lot of good depth. Their top 6 has been scoring at a crazy rate. And as you said, Seuss, Lucas Dostal has also played very well. 912 save percentage in 10 starts, 6-3-1 record. And now, do I think that, and they are my team of the week because they've won 4 in a row. There's been a lot of parity around the league, especially over the last week. But the one team that's remained consistent has been the Anaheim Ducks. Now, do I think they're going to do? I think they can keep it up the rest of the season at a similar pace. I don't think they're going to win the Pacific Division. I don't think that's going to happen. But I could easily see his team being top 3 in the division with the way they're playing right now.
I'll say the same thing. Is that the Ducks are a team right now where you're playing in a very top-heavy division is how I describe it, where you have the Knights and then supposedly the Oilers and Kings are supposed to be those top teams. After that, it is wide open. So we've talked about this almost every single week, just how wide open the Pacific is. And the Ducks, we don't expect to keep up this level of play, but just this first month of hockey is a great sign that they're capable of going on these kind of runs, because you're going to have hot and cold streaks as a team. The Ducks are proving that they're going to be able to have these kind of hot streaks and hang with teams like Vegas.
And it gives the fans, I know these Ducks fans have been suffering. They lost out on Connor Bedard in that draft lottery 2 years ago. But it shows them there is some hope. There's something there that can build for your future.
Yeah. As I said, we know Vegas will be at the top of this division. I don't even think that's a question. They are, I think, clearly the best team in this division. I think Edmonton will figure it out. They do every year. I don't think the Kings will. I think the Ducks are going to overtake the Kings this year. I think the Kings might not even finish top 4 in this division, honestly, with the way they've played. Like, I think Jim Hiller his seat is red hot right now.
Yeah.
If the Kings don't figure it out, he's going to be out of a job.
So we had a talking point on the show a few weeks ago about which coach's hot seat is, or which coach's seat is the hottest, and I was saying Jim Hiller has got to figure a few things out for this Kings team. My concern/excitement right now for the Ducks is their next 4 games. I don't know if you guys looked at it. It is a gauntlet of the West. They get starting tonight, Dallas on the road, Vegas on the road, in Anaheim for the Jets, in Colorado.
Yeah,
those are your next 4 games.
That's going to be a true test.
If they can win 2, that's impressive.
A split would just be awesome.
Yeah.
I would say a 1-2-1 would be somewhat acceptable.
Sure.
And then you have Detroit on the road right after that.
Yeah.
They're playing well as well. And Detroit used to be in the West, but they probably should be, honestly, with all the rivalries they have there, but they're not anymore. But that's a conversation for another day.
So my team of the week goes to a team that we talk a lot of stuff. We don't talk highly about the Boston Bruins recently. The Bruins, I have to say, their goaltending situation between Korpisalo and Swayman was just incredible this week. They flat out won 3 games at home, the Islanders, Buffalo, Carolina. I know the Islanders and Buffalo aren't the best teams in the league, but to play a 2-1 game with Carolina is one of the best defensive teams in hockey, in my opinion. To play their system, their game, and to come out with a big win. And that last Islanders game, they played 2 against the Islanders, a home and home. They were down the whole entire game. I watched that game. Trust me, I watched it. And the Bruins came back, clawed their way back. The Islanders were playing very aggressive, and they found a way to get 2 points and get out of Long Island. So I was very impressed with the week they had.
Yeah, Boston's a team that's interesting to me because they are extremely front-loaded when you look at these stats. Pasta has 18 points. Then after that, Pavel's got 13. Morgan Geeky's got 12. And then after that, it's a decent fall-off. Charlie McAfee's got 11. But then there is a drastic dip, and most of the guys at the bottom of this list don't have more than 5 points. And so it's a offense right now that's running through kind of just that front line. And like you said, the goaltending's been excellent, but Boston I have concerns about in terms of their depth.
I agree. I was just going to say the same thing. Their front line can't carry this team all year. Now, I think it's a bit different with the Ducks because I think the Ducks, their bottom six has way more potential than the Bruins do because I think they're going to feed off that young energy. The Bruins don't really have that young energy. They're a bit of an older team than the Ducks are. And the goaltending, this team is so inconsistent. They were my team of the week in week one.
Mm-hmm.
They're Seuss's team of the week.
They were your
not team of the week
Yep.
when you predicted they would lose those 4 games. And actually, I believe they didn't have a single point in any of those 4. I think they were all regulation losses.
Yep.
Yeah, they are so inconsistent. So watch them have a really bad week this week. I just think the goaltending's too inconsistent. Pasta's great, but he can't really carry this offense. I mean, give credit to Charlie McAvoy. He's averaging almost an assist per game right now, but even then, still has a -3 on the year. I just don't see the Bruins keeping this up. I think there's just other teams in the Atlantic. That's the other thing, too, with their division, how good it is.
Yeah.
There's other teams are just too talented. Tampa Bay will overtake them at some point. Once Ottawa gets fully healthy, I think they'll overtake them. And the Bruins could be this team that they're not a walk in the park or anything, but they just don't have the talent that these other teams do to keep up in the division.
No, I agree.
Yeah, the Atlantic is we talked about it, very, very stacked. The Bruins just don't have the talent alone to compete with Tampa, the Leafs, the Canadiens, even the Red Wings, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. My team of the week is a team that, when you look at the standings, you don't necessarily think that they had a good week, but compared to their usual selves, it was great. San Jose had a nice showing these past 7-8 days. They went 3-0-1, and against some great opponents. They had a W against New Jersey, one against Colorado, and one against Seattle. Those are all teams that are in the playoff picture right now. Total of 55 points between those 3 teams, and they handled all of them. The only loss was a shootout against Detroit, who is also a team in the playoff picture right now. So they're playing great teams, and they're playing them well. Celebrini is first in the league in points, which is incredible for him. He had 3 points last night. And yeah, this San Jose team is not performing well on the standings, but they had a good week, and so it's a positive note.
I think Macklin Celebrini is entering superstar mode with the way he's been playing right now, and that's really going to lead this team in the future. I've said this basically every week. I still think they're probably about 2 years away from competing, but with the way they're showing this year, they are not the San Jose of previous years where teams are just going to walk over them. I mean, 5-6-3 is way better than I thought they would be before the start of the season. Now, granted, I still think there's a lot of questions with the goaltending, and those questions are going to continue as the season goes on. But if guys like Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith, another young player right behind him with 13 points, if they can continue to score at the pace they're playing, the Sharks will be able to stay in any game. And as I said, I feel like they're going to be overlooked by a lot of teams, but the Sharks, who I've always had a love for because they probably have my favorite logo in the league, but they are, I think, finally starting to turn a corner. And rather than being at the bottom of the standings, I think they'll probably be around like 5th or 6th place in the Pacific this year.
Yeah, I think that the Sharks are a key example of, in my opinion, there's 2 categories of bad teams. There's bad teams and there's fun teams. The Sharks are fun to watch. They're not winning a whole lot of games. They had a good week, but they're not winning a whole lot. But they have the guys that like you want to tune into regardless.
Yeah, you want to watch the Macklin Celebrinis.
Yeah.
You want to watch the Will Smiths. You want to watch William Eklund play hockey. And you want to watch that relationship, that fun bromance between Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini continue to grow. I am a big supporter of Macklin Celebrini, big fan. I watched him a lot at Boston University, and I saw him. He was 17, 18, play 21, 22-year-olds, and we knew he was going to be good. We saw him play, like, up to it. He wasn't scared of the challenge, and at that point, I knew he was going to be that good.
Yeah, San Jose is not a team that I expect to be back in any of our teams of the week, but kudos to them for a good go-around.
Valiant effort.
Oh, yeah. All right, is that all of us for team of the week?
Yep.
All right, Jack, let's move into not team of the week. Who do you got?
This is a tough one because there was a lot of parity in the league this week. No one really had like a terrible week per se, but I'm going to go ahead and say the Edmonton Oilers. Not really that great of a week for Edmonton. Just a 1-2-1 week for them. Or I'm sorry, a 1-1-2 week. They had 2 overtime losses, 1 regulation loss, but that regulation loss came to St. Louis, which I don't want to be disrespectful to your team, but they have just not played well
embarrassing.
all year. Yeah. And they were also up 2, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they were up 2-0 in that game and then lost. That 2-0, most dangerous lead in hockey, but just not a great week for them. They just really haven't been playing up to their full potential. They've actually lost 5 of their last 7 now. going back to it, and it's not really the stars that are the problem. I mean, Connor McDavid has 21 points on the season. Now, granted, he's only scored 4 goals. He has 17 assists because, of course, he does. But this team just really isn't, other than McDavid and Draisaitl, nobody else is really scoring that much. I mean, I know Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has 16, but Leon Draisaitl is the only player on this team who has more than 5 goals on the season. And I think that's kind of hurting them. The fact that it's a one-man show. They need some more balance on this offense. And the goaltending, we talk about this a lot with Edmonton. I just don't think they're ever going to win a Stanley Cup with the current goaltending they have right now. I mean, Stuart Skinner either plays the game of his life or he plays a terrible game. Calvin Pickard is a .850 save percentage. When does Connor Ingram get called up? And when does he take over as the starting goaltender? Because once that happens, I think Edmonton will be fine. I think the offense will figure itself out. And they have the best power play in the league, and they're very reliant on that because their 5-on-5 hasn't been good. But once Connor Ingram comes back and once the offense establishes a bit more consistency, I honestly think they'll be just fine. I think they're one of the 2 best teams in the Pacific. I'm thinking it's coming. It just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, genuinely, we have said call up Ingram every single week on this show. I think every time we've talked about the Oilers, we say bring Connor Ingram up right now.
Edmonton's a team that I feel like always has a slow-ish start to a season. And, of course, they always cap it off with back-to-back Stanley Cup final appearances.
It got their coach fired a couple years ago, how bad they started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, you're just looking at this roster, it's a tough start, but you're playing in the Pacific, which we're saying is so easy to get back into relevance in. But when the top of your roster is McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, and Evan Bouchard, there's not the panic meter in Edmonton is so low. Yes, it was a rough week, but there's nobody that's that concerned about the Edmonton Oilers, and they're a point out of first place in the Pacific. That's how close this division is right now.
It's crazy.
So my not team of the week is a team that I really had some trouble with this one. This was a tough question for me. I was sitting there for a good 10 minutes trying to think, who is my not team of the week? And I came to the conclusion, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Just because they didn't win, they had such a good start, honestly. They were rolling. They won a game against the Wild, and then they lost 2 games to the Jets and the Leafs on the road. Tough environments, I'm going to say. Allowing 5 goals and 4 goals, it's gonna be tough. Their goalie combo, I'm gonna say it's not that great. Everyone's been hyping it up, and I don't think they're gonna be able to keep this up for a long time.
Yeah, the Penguins are a team that I am still confident in. Last week, I predicted that this year's Penguins is going to be last year's Capitals. I think that Sidney Crosby's still playing great hockey. This team is just well ran. It's well put together. And in this Metropolitan Division, I don't have a whole lot of doubt in them being able to stay relevant.
Yeah. Sorry, Jackie.
Oh,
You wanna go?
I was just saying, especially if they can keep their power play up, which is second best in the league right now, and they have 6 players with double-digit points on the season. Justin Brazeau, he's been a pretty pleasant surprise for Pittsburgh, has 6 goals and 6 points. He's not really that much of a scorer. Erik Karlsson still playing pretty good on the blue lines. Brian Rust, 11 points. And obviously, Evgeny Malkin, 19. He has 16 assists on the year. Granted, only 3 goals, but showing at age 39 in a contract year, he's still keeping it up. I think getting a new voice in there was so big for this team. Mike Sullivan's a legend. He's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion, but it had come time for them to get a new voice in that locker room. And Dan Muse has done a really good job. The goaltending is also great. Artur Silovs and Tristan Jarry both have save percentages over .910. And if they can keep that up, they will definitely compete. And especially with the fact that it's a weak division, I think that's a great I think that is so true. They are last year's Capitals, right? You've got veterans fighting the fountain of youth again. You've got a great goaltending duo. And I really think that this team has a lot of potential. I mean, they're second in the power play. They are 10th, in penalty killing. Special teams play well. That's kind of the old Penguins we used to see, and that's why they're having such a good start to the season.
Yeah, Malkin with 16 assists and 3 goals is
crazy.
A ridiculous, disbalance. But the thing I want to talk about is Jarry and Silovs have both played 7 games in net for the Penguins, and they both have a sub-3 goals against. That's incredible, and it's mostly unheard of. This is a team that has 2 incredible caliber goaltenders, and they're going to have to either figure out who's the one by the time the playoffs come around, or you can kind of try to use that 2-goalie system. But once, May and June come around and you're playing a 7-game series, it's going to be interesting to see who they go to first.
Yeah, their schedule coming up isn't the hardest thing. You have 7 out of 8 home games for the Penguins.
Yeah.
Washington at home, New Jersey, your 1 away game on the road, Kings, Predators. I think they can easily win 4 out of 5.
And that's the thing about hockey, especially early on, is just you're building a cushion. Like the Penguins are tied for first in the Metro right now, and like you said, they have a comfortable schedule coming up. They're going to get a chance to really pad it out and get comfortable and separate themselves from teams like Washington or the Flyers or the Islanders, who are trying to stay relevant but probably won't be able to.
The thing with the goaltending in Pittsburgh is we talk about finding their solution by the playoffs. Maybe they try to find it by the trade deadline.
Yeah.
If you could figure out which goaltender you want to keep, you could trade the other one and maybe get like a good defenseman back, maybe to help balance out this offense, because all their top scorers have been forward so far. So if you decide whether you keep, I think they'd probably keep Seelovs over Jari, because Jari's been older.
I agree.
He's a veteran, and there's a lot of teams out there who could use a guy like Tristan Jari, veteran experience. A lot of teams looking for a goaltender, right? St. Louis could be one of those teams. If
Edmonton.
Exactly. Edmonton, if for whatever reason they continue to refuse to call up Connor Ingram, which I can't believe they haven't called him up
I
yet.
think the Blues will be full sell by the time the deadline comes
I was going to say,
around,
that's
and
even if they're
I'll bring that
contending.
up soon. You know, I'll just bring it up now. My not team of the week for back-to-back weeks is the St. Louis Blues. I really didn't take a whole lot of notes on the Blues. I'm just going to go off the dome for this. The biggest issue right now is that Jordan Kyrou is a healthy scratch for tonight's game, which is the worst news I could have gotten today. Jordan Binnington's GAA is sitting just above 3.3, which is not what you want to see. But honestly, that's like reading that stat is way better than I expect from him for a guy that gave up 5 goals against Washington last night. Joel Hofer came in for the last one. But the goaltending's terrible right now for this team. Nobody has double-digit points. Suter is your top point getter right now, and he has 9. Kyrou has 8. He's done. Jimmy Snuggerud is the only hockey player on this team. I tweeted the other night, I said the Blues are Jimmy Snuggerud and 24 nobodies. Like, this team is reliant on their rookie. Robert Thomas isn't doing a whole lot. Jake Neighbors is still out right now. Braden Shen has a negative 13, plus minus. Nothing positive right now with the Blues, and they are the worst team in the league.
That's all despite having the 9th best power play in the league so far,
Yeah.
which kind of surprises me to read that considering how low their scoring has been. But the 3rd worst penalty killing in hockey, that's just not going to cut it. And this team, I don't know what's going on with Jordan Binnington. It just, he's so inconsistent, but this is a pretty long period of time that he's been inconsistent for now to start the season. Usually he'll be bad for like 3 games, and then he'll have like 5 amazing ones in a row. He's been bad for over 10 games, for this 10-plus game stretch now to start the season. And I would usually have confidence in this team. I mean, I had them pretty high in my power rankings to start the season, but there's just really no player on this team that gives me any confidence that they're going to turn it around. The Blues, as I said, they're one of these teams that they play as a group where they either are terrible and nobody is carrying them through, or they are all play their best hockey and nobody can beat them. And they're obviously hoping they get one of these hot stretches soon. I mean, 4-8-2, that is just not what I expected from this team. Especially a team who finished last season as strong as the way they did. I mean, they had, what was it, a 12-game winning streak last season?
I believe so.
Yeah, they had. I think it was the longest in franchise history.
Hold on. Jackson Romanick texted me the exact number a few days ago. Shout out Jackson Romanick.
It propelled them into that playoff spot, and just completely different look from this team this year. I don't know what's going on.
I'm going to say it. The plus minuses are atrocious.
It is.
Minus 13 for Braden Shen, minus 9 for Pavel Buchnevich, minus 9 for Cam Fowler, minus 8 for Jordan Kyrou. Those are some of your top guys. You're looking at, I know Shen's washed, but you need something. Some life, and this team just doesn't have it. I talked about it last week when they were your non-team of the week last week, Noah. It's just everything is going wrong at the wrong time.
Yep. It was a 12-game streak, by the way. The one thing I want to talk about last thing I want to say with this Blues team is the goaltending issue is similar to the 2021-22 season, where Binnington just did not look good, but on the flip side of that, you had Ville Husso, who was playing fantastic as a backup goaltender. This year, Joel Hofer has a .502 goals against right now. And so the issue is, like, you're playing a back-to-back tonight. Last night, Binnington gives up 5 goals to the Capitals. You're not going to play him again tonight. And so you're almost guaranteeing yourself back-to-back losses because your only other option is a guy who's giving up 5 goals a game. The defense is terrible. They're giving up way too many goals on a consistent basis. But I'm ready to move on. We're looking at the playoff picture right now, and a lot of these teams we've already talked about, but there's teams I want to mention as risers and fallers potentially, because there's a lot of teams that we don't expect to be in the playoff picture, but are, and teams that we had expectations for and have not met them. So I'm going to rattle off a few teams, and I want you guys to tell me if they will end up. These are teams that are not in the playoff picture right now, and I want you to tell me if they will end up there by the end of the season, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Florida.
No.
I'm going to say no.
Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Yes, they're my Stanley Cup pick. I'm sticking by that.
Ottawa.
No.
I agree. No, this division's too stacked. They have too many injuries. I think they're going to dig themselves in a deep hole, and they're not going to be able to climb out of it.
Edmonton.
Yes.
I would be shocked if they didn't make it. I'd be shocked if they didn't finish top 2 in the division, to be quite honest.
McDavid's like, I want out now. Don't wait the 2 years. Just get me out of here if we don't make the playoffs.
All right, Jack, pick one of those and elaborate on that.
I will go. I'm going to say Tampa because they were my Stanley Cup pick. They had a really bad start to the season. I mean, really bad. But they've played much better over the last 2 weeks or so. And I think they're just finally starting to establish consistency. And to be honest, it does not surprise me one bit. This is a veteran team, a team who they have won multiple of these players were on the teams that won the Cup in 2020, 2021. They just have such a stacked roster, and the fact is they are playing well, and despite that, their power play is still bottom 5 in the league. That's not going to last the whole season with Kucherov and Gensel and Point and all these guys leading the way, and their penalty killing is 4th best in the league, which that was the big thing for them last year was how good their special teams were, and it's going to stay. They're going to be right back to where they were last year. Once they get in the playoffs, Vasilevsky's the best goaltender in hockey. He is one of the best postseason goalies we've ever seen play the game. So once they get into the playoffs, I think they will be just fine. I think they're a team to watch at the trade deadline, possibly to add maybe another scorer, maybe another defenseman, and I really think that they are going to be a team nobody's going to want to see in the playoffs once playoff times come. Obviously, assuming they make the playoffs, but I am assuming that they will make the playoffs because of their experience and their talent.
I agree with you. I think Tampa is a playoff team, but I think they're a wild card team this year.
That's fine. I think if you get into the playoffs, you still don't want to face them.
I think they are only a playoff team via the weakness of the Metro right now. The Atlantic, I don't think they're going to compete with. Montreal's going to stay this good. The Leafs are going to stay this good. I'm not sold on the Red Wings. Boston's going to fall, and I think Ottawa's going to get much better throughout the season. So I think Tampa falls to a wild card, but there's nobody in the Metropolitan that I think is going to give them a run for a wild card spot.
Let me tell you my problem with Ottawa right now. It could change, but Linus Ullmark has been brutal.
Yeah.
A 3.41 goals against and an 861 save percentage.
Another team to watch out for Tristan Jarry.
Mm-hmm. Next week, I'm going to make a list of just teams that can sell a goalie and teams that want to buy a goalie, because our deadline episode is going to be full of goaltenders.
Oh my! Yeah,
Oh, it's going to be loaded.
the thing that we have for our episode.
Yeah.
So back to what I was saying. Ottawa, I don't think they're going to be in the push. They'll be in that wild card push come March and April. But I don't think they're going to make it. This team, I think goaltending is a problem. If they do address it at the deadline, I could see them making it. If they do get I know I'm bringing this up a lot, Ilya Sorokin, if they do get an Ilya Sorokin, for a Shane Pinto, they could be perfectly fine.
So you think that Tampa gets in then?
Yes, 100%. I think Tampa is a wild card team.
Okay, Tampa is a wild. So who's your top 3 in the Atlantic? Does it stay the same?
No, I have the Leafs.
Uh-huh.
I have
The Habs?
the Habs, of course.
So who replaces the Wings?
Nobody replaces the Wings.
So you're saying it stays the same?
Yes,
Okay.
but not the order.
Okay.
The order's going to change.
Gotcha.
That's what I meant by that.
I'm gonna go Toronto, Tampa Bay, and then Montreal.
Really?
I don't know if Montreal's 9-3-1. I don't think they're gonna be able to keep that up all season. I think they'll be top 3. I just don't think they're gonna be in first. I think Toronto and Tampa Bay just have more depth, more experience than Montreal does right now.
Give me Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa.
Ooh, okay.
Give me an all-Canadian top 3 in the Atlantic.
So you think Ottawa's gonna make a
I do.
acquisition at the deadline?
I think Ottawa is going to get healthy. They're going to make an acquisition. They're going to get better goaltending, and I think they're going to get a 3rd place finish in this division. Let's move on to some potential fallers right now. These are teams that are in playoff spots that we didn't quite expect to be. I'll rattle them off. All right, you ready? Detroit.
Yes.
Do they
No.
stay? Detroit doesn't stay. Okay.
No, I don't even think they make the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think they make the playoffs.
Okay. Pittsburgh.
That's so tough. They've had such a good start, but I'm going to say no. I'm going to drop a no on that one.
I'm going to say yes because of their goaltending and because of the way that Crosby and Malkin have played. It feels like 2010, but it's 2025, and they are still at the top of their game.
Utah.
Ooh, Utah's sneaky. I want to say yes. I really do. I'm going to say yes.
It's so tough. Their division is just so stacked.
Yeah. But
I think they might be the fourth best team in the division, and the Pacific isn't great. I'm going to say they make the playoffs. I just don't think they'll be top 3 in the division. I think they'll be a wild card.
Yeah. I agree with you, Jack. I think my issue right now is obviously there's the top 3 in the Central, which
It's unanimous.
we knew going into the start of the year, and it's going to stay the same. And my issue with Utah is that last week they were top of this division, and they've already fallen to third place. And so they just aren't a consistent
Well, they're
team.
actually tied for first, but
In the Central?
They have, them and Colorado both have. Oh no, I'm looking at the games played. I'm sorry.
There we go.
They're 3 points behind. That's still they are still right there.
They're still
though.
there, but I'm saying I expect Colorado and the Jets and the Stars to separate themselves.
We haven't talked about Colorado in this episode, no, and they have one regulation loss, and this whole month.
The five overtime losses bugs me so much.
Loser points
Yeah.
are here,
Every
guys.
time I look at this team and the standings, I think Colorado is 5 games away from being fraudulent.
Yeah, we would really have a discussion right now if they were 8-6-0
Yep.
about how good this team is, what they do at the deadline. But no, it's fine and dandy when they're 8-1-5 and they have 5 loser points.
Yep. All right, so it's out of the
We
just did Utah. Seattle.
No,
Really?
I have
Seattle was a team that you were high on at the start of the year.
Seattle.
I've seen you wear a Kraken shirt before.
I do have one. It's in the closet, but I don't have them making it. The way, if the Ducks, I have a weird feeling about the Ducks. It's a young roster. I'm going to go Golden Knights, Edmonton, and I'm going to back Jack up here with the Ducks.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Not necessarily Ducks, but I'm going to say like it's going to be Knights, Oilers, and then between Kraken and Ducks, you got to pick one.
And I don't think the Kings are even
The Kings are going to be sellers. They're going to clean house, and then after that, the last 3 teams are the Nucks and the Sharks and the Flames, and those are probably the 3 worst teams ever.
Unless the Flames win drastically, and they win a lot.
They won't.
That won't happen.
Which they won't.
Yeah, Nazem Kadri is going to lead the Flames to the playoff spot.
Hey, if they've won 2 in a row, do not let the Flames get hot, everybody.
Seattle, no. I hard no too. Not even the playoffs, let alone being
Okay.
top 3 in this division.
Okay.
Vegas, Edmonton, Anaheim, that's my top 3. Let's see. So the Central, I think the 4 we mentioned. So you know what? I think Minnesota is gonna rise up the standings. I just think that they're gonna ride Kirill Kaprizov. That's kind of he missed half the games last year. They still made the playoffs. So
Yeah.
if he's healthy for the full season, I don't even really care about the rest of their roster. Maybe they make a move for a goaltender as well. Who knows what they do? But I don't trust the Blues. Chicago is 6-5-3. I just think they're too young.
I would take Chicago over the Wild right now.
It's close, but
if I'm picking a last team in out of the West, I would take the Hawks.
I don't think the Kraken are making it though. That's the bottom line of
All right.
this.
So I feel like my Central would be Avalanche, Jets. I think the Stars get a Central spot.
Yeah.
And then bumping Utah, I think, to a wild card spot.
I agree. I'm going to say, yeah, Utah is your top wild card, and I'm going to give Seattle your last wild card spot. I think Chicago's going to be close by. I think Nashville could be close. Vancouver could hang around.
I don't trust Nashville. Vancouver is an interesting one.
Yeah.
I mean, the Kings still have talent.
The Kings will hang around.
And when Kopitar comes back, maybe they play better.
The Kings are a team that we're going to figure out eventually where their direction is, because if management in the front office says this is a season we're throwing away, we're going to sell, we're going to rebuild, then we'll know they're going to fall to the bottom. But if they choose to stay relevant, they might be a couple points out.
I think since this is Anze Kopitar's final season, I think they're going to say we want to go for it.
Yeah.
And I could see Jim Heller being fired, and maybe after,
Sure.
because we've seen a lot of teams with interim coaches. We saw St. Louis in 2019. We saw Edmonton in 2024. Sometimes just getting Mike Sullivan 2016 as well. You just get these interim coaches in, and sometimes they can do wonders for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me tell you, the Kings have been really bad. And for how bad they have been, for how mediocre, I'm not going to say bad because they're not like Sharks level of bad. How mediocre they have been, they're still in a second wild card spot 1 point behind Vegas.
Yeah. And I mean, that just shows at the moment how much better the East is than the West. The West is so great at the top 5 teams, and then after that is so much mediocrity and then a lot of bad teams.
Yeah.
The last place team in the East would be 3 points out of a wild card spot in the West.
Yep.
Holy goodness.
All right, let's move on to what we are looking
Wait, we forgot one team.
Oh, we know the answer for
We
this
do know
one.
the answer, but we
Anaheim.
forgot it.
Anaheim. Yes.
Top 3 in the division.
Anaheim is
easily.
going to be a playoff team, and it's going to be awesome.
Oh, I'm so excited to watch. The game tonight, which we'll get into in a second. Excited to watch it.
When the Blues are not a playoff team, there's going to be a lot of teams that I am excited to watch in the postseason, and the Ducks are one of them.
I have a question, guys. Do we
Yes.
think any of our teams are going to make the playoffs, honestly?
No, we don't score. The Rangers don't score enough.
It is going to be a lonely month of May on this show.
We'll be talking Ducks hockey in the playoffs.
Exactly.
And honestly, it'll be fun though to talk about other teams
Exactly,
though, not
yeah.
like really have like personal bias
Yeah.
and we're talking about hockey.
If the Islanders were in the playoffs, Seuss would not be able to contain himself on the show.
I don't think so. But there is no playoffs though that are better than the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I will argue with the wall.
I love MLB playoffs.
I love MLB playoffs, but you have 2 months of hockey, and that 2 months of hockey, anything can happen. I don't think there's
I will say
anything better.
those two are in a league of their own. They're way above NBA, way above NFL.
way above, way
March
above.
Madness has fallen off for me. I used to love March Madness. It's fine.
Like, I just love the grit and the grind of a 7-game NHL series.
Yeah.
Those teams beat each other up for 7 straight games. And it's like, okay, the NBA is great. Don't get me wrong. But it's like LaFlop's there, and it's just terrible, I'm going to be honest with you.
The NBA, you have to wait for the Final Four. And hockey, it starts the moment the first game starts. Anything can happen.
The 2019 playoffs where all 4 1 seeds got bounced in the first round was great.
Yeah.
All right, Seuss, what are you watching this week?
All right, let's keep it quacking, as I would say. Ducks Golden Knights on Saturday. It's going to be a great game. The Ducks are rolling, like we said, and their schedule gets tough, as we stated. This Golden Knights team is the cream of the crop, in my opinion, in the Pacific Division. So this is going to be a true test for the Ducks to see if they can keep this up against a tough Golden Knights team on the road.
Jack, what are you going to watch?
There are a lot of good games this weekend, but I'm gonna go with the game that's happening tonight, and it's the Canadiens taking on the Devils. You got the 2 teams who are atop their divisions right now in the Eastern Conference. I think the Devils will win the Metro this year. I think Montreal will be top 3 in the Atlantic. I think you've got 2 teams with a bunch of young superstars. You've got Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier for New Jersey. You got Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, Ivan Demidov for Montreal. I think this would be such a fun playoff series. If we saw this series in the playoffs, I think it would be so much fun. And it's just 2 teams who, they're young, they're exciting, they are very fast, both very fast teams, and I think it's going to be a super fun one to watch tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to stay with the idea of the Canadiens and talk about this Saturday's game between the Habs and the Mammoth. This is a team that, if this was the Cup Finals, I would be very pleased with. Utah is still playing great hockey. Nick Schmaltz has 18 points, leading the way for them. Couple of excellent goaltenders on this Utah team. And this is typically when what I'm looking forward to. It's kind of like what Seuss did this week, where it's a team that's on the come up versus a established team. But this is honestly just a game that I'm looking forward to because it's 2 teams that are proving a lot of people wrong, and I think it's just going to be great hockey. 2 solid, one of the oldest fan bases versus one of the newest fan bases in the league, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super fun.
All right. Any last thoughts, fellas? We didn't talk about the Islanders at all.
All right, you want to time me again, or we're just going to go straight?
Not really. Just go.
Just go? Okay. So the Islanders were close for being my team of the week. I said to myself on Tuesday, you beat Boston, I'll make them the team of the week. They did not beat Boston. And instead, I picked Boston as my team of the week. So the Islanders, Sorokin, I saw him play his first good game of the year against Washington on Friday. And then Sunday, they were down 2-1. I was losing my mind. 2-1, 7 minutes left. They scored 2 goals with a minute left to win the ball game. Sorry, not the ball game. The puck game, as I would say. It was a huge win. Momentum was rolling. And then they were up 3-2 against Boston. They couldn't get the job done. And I am the biggest hater of the shootout of all time. I need 3-on-3 overtime. I need a good 10 minutes of it. Come on, Bettman. I'm done with the shootout, even though my team is really bad at it.
All right.
Jonathan Quick, best backup goaltender in the league. In fact, I think he'll be the most coveted goaltender at the trade deadline. Not even any of the ones we mentioned. Two-time Stanley Cup champion, brings that experience. .941 save percentage as a backup this year. He is still playing great hockey, nearing 40 years old. That's all I've got.
Jordan Kyrou's going to the Penguins tonight. That's my prediction. The healthy scratch is on its way to Pittsburgh. All right, that'll do it for us here from the Dump and Chase podcast, presented by the Hoosier Network. I've been Noah Bedoris with Noah Seuss and Jack Rizzo. We'll see you next week.